So here are my bets here in the week 13, 2024 late window games. So we had the Seattle Seahawks. They have a good win here over the Arizona Cardinals. They beat the Arizona Cardinals a few weeks ago, and it was a 16-6 game on November 24th, 2 weeks ago. Or actually 3 games for them ago. Now, that was a good win. Of course, Seattle. Well, a must-win game for Seattle then. Now, this was another must-win. There was a couple teams pushing for them. If Arizona won, Arizona and Seattle would have been in a tie for first place, but it would have been to go in the division record. Arizona, however, did not win in 2018. And there was also, with Arizona's, you had San Francisco in a must-win game with Chicago today. I'll mention talk about how that one went. But either way, I mean, it could have been if San Francisco won, it would only be at the most 2 back in the division still, like they were going in the week. But they wanted to. But if Seattle lost, if Arizona won, they would only be a game back. They wanted to be a game back, but if they lose, they would without winning. The Seahawks win. Now they're going to be 3 back with a loss. In the first quarter, Arizona had a touchdown, then 2 touchdowns and a field goal. So putting it on them really quickly, With a field goal, made it 17-10, then 24-10. And then the second half, they had kind of let low. They just, Arizona defense played well, but their offense couldn't play well. And Kyler Murray had 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, and see a costly one right there in the first quarter. Made a quick 20-yard field goal, and then 18-yard touchdown pass in 16 seconds. So pretty quick, drive, pretty quick turnaround. And you just can't have that. Kyler Murray can't have that. Throwing 2 touchdowns, 2 receptions, 215 yards, 25-38. 25-38 is not bad, but having the 2 interceptions to show for it, that's not great. And running the ball, Charbonnet had 22 carries for 103 yards and 2 touchdowns. So it was a pretty solid day on rushing the football. Connor only had 18 per 90, so it's not bad, but averaging 5 yards a carry. 5 yards a catch, or 5 yards a run. And then Smith had 24-30, 230 yards a touchdown. So it didn't need to pass, just ran the football. Just did what they had to do running the football, and it really worked out a lot more. And the Chicago Bears, are eliminated from the NFL playoffs in the NFC. They lost to San Francisco, and that they are eliminated not with loss, and that is because Washington has 8-5, and the best Chicago can do is 8-9, and the best Washington can do is the worst Washington can do is 8-9. So when Washington's head went over Chicago on the Hail Mary play, so what was Chicago did? So Chicago now has lost 7 straight games to a struggling San Francisco team. This season, San Francisco was in the Super Bowl last season. Can't just show the Super Bowl. You think, okay, maybe they don't come back to the Super Bowl, but maybe they make it to the NFC Championship game. Maybe they make it to the NFC Championship game, I would assume at least. Oh man, they might not even make it to the playoffs this year. They might even make it to playoffs as one and done this year. to win the division. If they win the division, they have to win 2 more games in order to win the division, which is so far their only hope to make the playoffs. For San Francisco, that's their only hope. And it's not looking great, San Francisco. But San Francisco was all over Chicago in the first half. 2 touchdowns in the first quarter. And then you had a touchdown in the second quarter, a touchdown in the third, a field goal in the field goal then, and then a touchdown by Chicago in the third, and a failed 2-point conversion, and then 2 touchdowns in the fourth. Their offense got a little stagnant in the third, but late third they ended up going, and then in the fourth quarter they scored. But in the beginning of the third quarter, they did get stopped by Chicago though. And then a touchdown by Chicago, and then a touchdown by San Francisco. So San Francisco putting it on, and that was a good win for them. The Buffalo Bills, they fall to the LA Rams. The LA Rams just dominated them. Except for the fourth quarter, the LA Rams were all over the Buffalo Bills. And this one, in a high scoring, it was first quarter 7-0. Then it was in the second quarter. But LA Rams were all over Buffalo. 1 touchdown by Buffalo. But a 22-yard field goal, a block punt return for a touchdown. And then it was a touchdown just a couple minutes later, but then a touchdown. It was 2:36 in the second quarter, 24-14. And then in the third, there was another touchdown by the Buffalo, but LA Rams scored a touchdown with 8:26, so 18 seconds in the third. So all were then a quick touchdown with 14:27 in the fourth quarter, and then 8:49 to go in the fourth. And then you made it close. Then a missed extra point by the kicker, by Joshua Carty, and then a touchdown, 1-yard touchdown by Josh Allen, and of only 54 seconds. Then you need to get the onside kick, and could not. Josh Allen played not bad, but he just was a little more incompletions. 15 incompletions, 22-37, 3 touchdowns. Stafford had 3 33, 2 touchdowns. And Josh Allen also had 10 kick rushes, 10 runs for 8 yards, 3 touchdowns on the rushing the ball. So he had 3 touchdowns running and 3 touchdowns passing. And 12 when your leading receiver though for LA Rams had 12 catches for 162 yards. And running was not the most efficient, 29 for 87, 2 touchdowns, but the 2 touchdowns were pretty efficient. But also, Williams was still solid on the ground, still went back to it to run. That shows, you can't give up on the run, you gotta get run to keep them honest, and they really did that. It opened up a lot, despite not getting a lot of yards, it opened up the passing game a lot. And the Kansas City Chiefs clinch the NFC, or the AFC West, excuse me. I said NFC. I said NFC West, let's talk about the NFC. But the NFC West. That's why I was talking about the NFC West. But the AFC, we focused the AFC West now. And that one from talking about 4 NFC West teams to now the AFC West here. The Kansas City Chiefs win the AFC West on Sunday Night Football. This was going in this game. If Kansas City won, they would clinch the division, as they would have the sweep over the LA Chargers, and the LA Chargers would be back 4 in the division. If Kansas City lost, Chargers won, it would be 2 back. Instead of being 3 back, it would be 2 back in the division, and make things a little bit tighter. Yeah, it would be 9-4, 11-2. But now it's a 4-game lead for Kansas City with their win 19-17. And Kansas City was our first quarter Matthew rate 46-yard field, then a 33-yard field Matthew rate, and then the offense finally got going in the 2-minute scenario. 9-yard touchdown pass by DeAndre Hopkins from Patrick Mahomes. This Matthew rate extra point was good, 13-0. Then third quarter, LA Chargers scored 2 touchdowns, a 3-yard touchdown by Gus Edwards and Johnston, a 4-yard Quentin Johnston. He had a 4-yard touchdown pass from Justin Herbert and made it 14-13. Then Matthew Ray kicked a field goal, 50-yarder. He kicked, and then Cameron Dicker kicked a 37-yard field goal. And Matthew Wright, he kicked a 31-yard. And that was the kick. Whew. That kick won the Kansas City Chiefs division. However, it was a doink. It looked like it was going to be. It looked like it was either barely going to be in, or maybe it was leaning towards going out though. Maybe it was leaning left, and I thought, sometimes the kickers don't go right, left, but then you'll see them make it. Kind of not close, but they'll make it. Still a little sweat, but comfortable. Kind of a little bit comfortably in. But no, it looked like it was heading. Then it was heading out, and maybe a miss. But no, Matthew Wright's kick doinked off the left upright, and the bounce favored the Chiefs, and it doinked right off the upright, and actually bounced in favorable. That's right. It looked like it was going to be a miss. It was leaning left. It was going left. Looked like it was going to be missed. But doinked off the left upright and in. I'm not for sure if it. Couldn't tell though if it missed. If it couldn't tell if it hit off the right upright as well. Just barely, or if it just barely missed the right upright, but it did go in though. Not by a lot, but it did, and that's all that matters. And Matthew Wright, 31-yard doink field goal, wins the game 19-17 for the Kansas City Chiefs. And the Kansas City Chiefs are still the number 1 seed in the AFC. They are still the number 1 seed in the AFC, and they're 2 ahead. Excuse me, I said 2 back, but they're 2 ahead of Buffalo after Buffalo's loss to the LA Rams, which is a little bit surprising, especially when they were out dominating every quarter except the fourth. The only way the score looked close is they dominated. They had to do well in the fourth, but otherwise, LA Rams had them dominated. But Kansas City Chiefs they won close, and the Buffalo Bills lost close. So Kansas City now has a 2-game lead on Buffalo for the number 1 seed. So, but Kansas City's not out of it yet. With 4 games to go, Kansas City can get to 16-1. But Buffalo's best is only 14-3. So Kansas City, all Kansas City has to do is Kansas City just has to play Cleveland Browns. Then they play Houston Texans. Then they play the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then they play the Denver Broncos, which they should beat the Cleveland Browns. Probably beat the Houston Texans. There's going to be one close game with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then the Denver Broncos. They might be able to beat So they could be 15-2. The Buffalo Bills. You could see them beat Detroit, but also you could see Detroit winning. They should beat New England. Should beat NY Jets. They should beat New England the second time. They play New England 2 times in 3 weeks. So Buffalo could be 13-4. Or they could be 14-3. So we'll see how that goes against the Detroit Lions. It's going to be a really good game. 10-3. Buffalo against 12-1 Detroit. That's going to be a really, really good game. So, 2 of the top teams in football. Well, the Buffalo Bills are not the best in the NFC, or the AFC. They are the second best team in the AFC. I mean, they are actually. But then you got the teams in the AFC. You got Detroit. You got Philadelphia. You got Minnesota that are ahead of them. And even record-wise, they're ahead of them. That's 3. Then you got 4, which is Kansas City. And you got Pittsburgh, which could be the 5th best team. Pittsburgh or Buffalo would be regarded as 5 and 6. So they are in that, either top 5 or on the edge of top 5 though. And Pittsburgh, they're with Pittsburgh, they're right on the edge of both. So, but I would say they're both pretty even though. But I would say Buffalo just has a little bit of edge though. Or Pittsburgh though. But still, almost fell their way out of the top 5 though. Best records in the NFL. But there's still 2 top 5 teams. That's showing that they're for real team. But we'll see. It's Buffalo. Got for a test to beat the Lions, who only lost 1 time all season to Tampa Bay in week 2. And they won. And then Detroit has been played really good 11 games. And we'll see if they can make it 12. That should be a really, really fun game Sunday afternoon. Can't wait to see that one. And then we also got Pittsburgh at Philadelphia. That could make, if Detroit wins and Philadelphia loses, or if, Detroit could have a 2-game lead in the NFC for the number 1 seed. They could. So, because especially when you factor in the divisions, like the NFC North is the Lions are only a game back of the NFC North rivals, the Vikings. NFC North fall Vikings, so it's interesting. So, but Buffalo is still can clinch the number 1 seed, so can Kansas City, but Kansas City could be 16-1. Buffalo is best. Could be 14. It's going to be 14-3. So Kansas City just needs to win 3 games in a row. Needs to win 3 more games. Because with Buffalo having the tie breaker with the win, that is Kansas City at 13. Needs to beat Cleveland, which they should. Should beat Houston Texans. Or they should beat the Houston Texans. And then the Pittsburgh Steelers is going to be a tough matchup. Pittsburgh Steelers matchup is going to be very tough with them on Christmas Day. And then you have Denver, which they will be probably 14-1, and they could be 14-2, maybe 15-2. So if they beat Denver, so this might come down to the very end, the very last game of the season for the number 1 seed in the AFC. Although if Buffalo was happen to lose the game against Detroit, then it would just need to be the win against Cleveland and then the Saturday game against Houston would clinch them the number 1 seed in the AFC. So they could have the AFC wrapped up. The AFC number 1 seed wrapped up either. The earliest they could do it is either 21st of December, Saturday, with the win, with Buffalo loses to Detroit, and they beat Cleveland Browns, and they beat the Houston Texans. Or it could be wrapped up on 25th, Christmas Day, with a win over the Cleveland Browns on the 15th, Sunday, and then 21st, Saturday against Houston, and the 25th, Christmas Day, which is a Wednesday, against the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh, or near Pittsburgh. I don't know if it's right in Pittsburgh, or it could be right on outside of Pittsburgh. But either way, a night. So it could have 3. They just need to win 3 straight to clinch the AFC number 1 seed, regardless of what happens with Buffalo. But if Buffalo loses on Sunday to Detroit, then it just needs to be 2 more wins. 2 wins. So we'll see. Or actually, by the time the Kansas City game finishes, and then the Buffalo game will be next. So Kansas City could find out after the same day that it's just 1 or 2 more wins to clinch the number 1 seed. They don't. I mean, they just still want to keep the momentum rolling and everything, but if they clinch the number 1 seed, then officially, then once they clinch the number 1 seed officially, then they don't got to worry about anything. They can just. They might rest their starters 2 weeks in a row, but I don't think they'll rest against Pittsburgh Steelers, though. They'll probably want to play, especially when they got the long layoff. Then they'll get the long layoff and play, and they will rest their starters, which is always a good thing.